Hey guys, I know it's been a while. I haven't posted in a bit. I've just been going through a lot lately, so I just couldn't post in a while. And I'll be doing a voiceover for this specific video, as I'm not gonna lie, the dialogue for this video is pretty long and it has a lot of specific details that I just don't want to mess up. So I'll be doing a voiceover, and yeah, let me know if you like it, want to try something out new, and yeah, enjoy the content. Growing up, I was always a fairly social kid, as I always spoke and socialized with people around, whether that was in school, at work, volunteering, within the community, and so on. I always had both female and male friends growing up, and always just enjoyed people's company, for the most part. And most of my elementary and middle school years, I've only spoken to girls on a platonic level, as the whole romance thing and being flirtatious was just not a part of my vocabulary, as I didn't really have any desire for any of my female friendships to spark to a higher level. It remained like that until I've gotten into midway through high school. It was only ever since midway through high school was when I actually started to mingle and speak with girls on a more romantic level. It was only when I was about 16 years old and up when I actually started transcending past the platonic level with some of the females around me. And ever since I was 16 till now, I would typically have some type of girl around for the most part to keep me company and enjoy time with. Fast forward to the age of 21, I started cycling through much more girls than I ever did before, as not only were my social skills were better, but I overall got much more confidence and more exposure to females. And honestly, for the most part, it was the same routine with most girls, especially with the girls I would meet from 21 onwards. I'd always find some type of girl around, whether that was through school, work, or within the community, to chat up and entertain myself for the time being. And I wouldn't think much of it, as I would just enjoy these girls' companies and fun. It's something that made me feel validated and good, and it would boost my self-esteem and confidence every time. But every time I would speak to a new girl, the spark would eventually fizzle, or we would eventually just part ways due to circumstances and just not talk anymore. And whenever I would be done talking to one girl, I would simply just approach and chat up another girl and just entertain myself for the time being again. As it was the same routine all over again. Speak to a girl, enjoy her presence and company, feel validated and appreciated every time I spoke to a new girl, get my fix, then fizzle away, and start over with another. It was a vicious cycle that I wasn't aware of being in, and I didn't think much of it because before I would think about it, I would just go and find another girl to distract myself with, until I met this one girl. That honestly changed the trajectory of that cycle and made me grow out of it. So here it goes. It was 2024, November, which is around the end of first semester of my 4th year in university. And I was talking to this one girl in school in my class who was sweet, but long story short, we eventually stopped talking around the end of semester once she confessed to me that she wasn't up for the situation between us because she had too much going on in her life. So we stopped talking. And now I'm back to being all on my own again with no girl to entertain myself with. It was also around that time when my dad, who works at a pizza shop, was planning to go to India at that time to go settle property issues back home, which therefore my dad wanted me to take his delivery job position and fill in for him while he was gone. Me not having any job and semester about to end, I was up for it, as I found it as a good way to pass the time during the breaks between semesters and make some money on the side. My dad first brings me in the workplace to introduce me to the coworkers and eventually leaves not long after. I met all of my coworkers and I was pleased to see how nice they were. And there was this one girl working there. I'll refer to her as Natalie. And I thought she was cute the very first day I seen her at work. Short girl with dark red hair. I mean, that's if I'm remembering properly. And considering that I just finished talking to the girl I was speaking with within the semester, I finally had a new girl to target and distract myself with. So, I set my eyes on Natalie since the very first day of working. The same way I would set my eyes on any available girl around after I was done with the previous one. And this one was no different. I was just planning on repeating the procedure with Natalie, just like I did with most other girls in the past, and that's what I did. I just spoke to Natalie for a good 2 to 3 weeks of working, just casual conversation and funny jokes being thrown around, and eventually decided to ask her out. Nothing serious, just asked her out for the sake of doing it. Kind of like a coin flip in a sense. Just to hang out and have fun, and that's all. Natalie replies with a no and rejects the request, implying that she wasn't interested. And I took it to the chin, as usual, and just shrugged it off, as we eventually just go on with normal conversation and day. I honestly didn't care much, as I've been rejected before, and I typically have a 2 to 3 rejection to 1 yes ratio with many girls anyways, as my mind was just off to the next pretty girl available around. Considering by then second semester had started already. As again, I've done this rotation a good amount of times to know that after a no, a yes was around the corner like it always did. I didn't really care, as I didn't know Natalie much, and it was just for the sake of selfish distraction and entertainment that can easily be replaced. So within the next 2-month time period of working at the pizza shop with Natalie, I was already talking to another girl from class who was actually down to spend time and entertain me. I'll refer to her as Melinda. Long story short, me and Melinda would hang out a good amount for the month and a half we spoke to each other and had our spark. She was fun, but we eventually split off as well. While speaking with Melinda, I was still speaking with Natalie at work and enjoying her company as well at the same time, but with no intentions of trying to impress or pull, since I already had my eyes on Melinda for that time being. Since my guard was being dropped around Natalie, I really got to feel her out and just kind of vibe with her, eventually starting to build a bit of a friendship with her. As I was getting to know her more, we would have more deeper conversations, know more about each other, relate to each other, and after every conversation, I would find myself resonating with her more and more. And I would always have this habit of daydreaming about the girls I would speak with within the time frame of speaking to them. I would often catch myself thinking about Natalie throughout my day-to-day life in intervals. Like almost as soon as I would be done a task or just not busy anymore, I would just catch my mind thinking about Natalie and having thoughts about her. Daydreaming about Natalie, fantasizing about Natalie, creating desired romanticized scenarios with Natalie. And the thoughts about Natalie can range anywhere from cute, playful, sexual, and flirtatious. As Natalie wasn't the only girl I've done this to, but I would have this habit with every girl I've spoken with within the time frame of speaking with them. I would also think about Melinda a lot too for the time being we spoke. It was a cycle of me daydreaming, fantasizing, creating desired scenarios about girls I would talk to in my head, with the same type of setting, tone, and everything. Just a different face every time as the rotations go by. But the same habit to think about the girl was always fundamentally there. Considering that as soon as I was done talking with Melinda, I had Natalie as my safety net to fall back on when I didn't have Melinda as a distraction no more. When I stopped distracting myself with Melinda due to her being gone, I just went right back to distracting myself with Natalie again. And when I fell back on Natalie, I would catch myself thinking about her harder than I ever did before cutting things off with Melinda. And after the 2-month time frame of the first rejection with Natalie, I grew to like her more as a person and had even more intrusive thoughts about her, considering that I fell back on Natalie after Melinda. I was genuinely in shock. I don't ever typically crush over a girl this hard. I'm typically very composed and fairly detached from girls I speak to, so it wasn't making sense that I was thinking about Natalie so much. This isn't the first time I did this, I think to myself. I'm not a rookie. So why is this happening? I was very confused, shocked, scattered, suppressed emotion and thought, and felt a bit of shame to my pride that I was catching myself slowly falling head over heels over this girl. I've been playing this game for a while, so I just couldn't understand what was going on. And that confusion would cause anxiety and make me feel a slight dread every time I would think about Natalie. Even in real life, I would catch myself being nervous and around Natalie, even though we've been talking to each other for a good couple of months now. As a couple months after the first rejection, I was thinking about asking out Natalie again, but this time it was for real. It wasn't just to play with my chances or just to pass time, but the second time I got myself to ask her out was because I felt like I genuinely liked her as a person and actually wanted to see where it could have went between us. So then I did. I asked her out for the second time at work, and she says no and rejects me again. And as she didn't want to take it to that level for her own reasonings. I remember just awkwardly giggling and going on with my workday, acting as if nothing happened. And yeah, me and Natalie had normal conversation after, but deep down I couldn't shake the feeling of cringe every time we spoke that day. And when work was over, I won't even lie. The feelings I was suppressing at work that day all kind of came out to the surface. I actually felt very bothered and sad about the rejection. I didn't even bother eating that night and just went to sleep feeling all sorts of emotions. And then I would catch myself ignoring Natalie at work as I didn't want to bother talking to her no more. Then I eventually seeked out for another pretty girl available within school. And I did. I'll refer to her as Bianca. Long story short, me and Bianca spoke to each other for a good month till it fizzled away, and within that month I was ignoring Natalie and just distracting myself with Bianca. And it was working. I was only just thinking, fantasizing, and being distracted with Bianca for the month of speaking to her. But when she eventually fizzled away, I felt this dark void crawl up on me. I felt a bit empty inside. I felt hollow for some reason, felt lonely. And it wasn't much long after fizzling things away with Bianca was when I kind of made up with Natalie and started speaking to her again. I broke the silence between us and initiated conversation, and Natalie entertained it too. Then one conversation after the other, me and Natalie were right back on good terms. And there it was again. I was falling back on Natalie as a safety net again, and was able to distract myself with Natalie again after when things fizzled away with Bianca. Just like how I did back when Melinda fizzled away. And I went back to thinking and distracting myself with Natalie again after ending things with Bianca. And now I feel myself thinking about Natalie even harder. And this caused even more confusion, as Natalie was a pretty cool girl, don't get it twisted. But she was nowhere near perfect. And although I logically know that she isn't a good choice to really pursue as a woman, considering her issues and problems she told me about herself, another part of me wanted to be with her. The hidden part of me was convinced I liked her, even when the logical part of me knew I didn't really like her to that insane level, and that she also wasn't a good fit to be a reliable partner as well. I would have more thoughts about Natalie, and not knowing where these intrusive thoughts were coming from within me, I believed the lies my own mind told me and thought I liked her so much. And we speak for a couple more months after Bianca and I fizzled away, and I was really enjoying her company, very good. I even remember telling her about my YouTube channel and sending a link to my first video that was about my Tourette's. I remember when I first seen the notification that Natalie commented, I remember it making my heart beat faster, as this was going to show how wrapped up I was getting in my own mindful delusion and deceiving intrusive thoughts my own mind was telling me. And naive me at the time, not understanding my own mind, I let it fool me and cause unnecessary arousal. Fast forward towards April 2025 was when Natalie told me that she was about to leave the pizza shop and go work somewhere else. And my time speaking with Natalie was about to come to an end. And I remember having this slight sinking feeling in my gut and my chest tightening a bit, realizing that I wasn't going to be able to see or speak to Natalie the same way I was while working with her. And for those last 2 weeks of Natalie working at the pizza shop, I remember really enjoying her company. For some reason, she seemed more energetic and warmer towards me as well within her last 2 weeks of working. I guess she was trying to enjoy my company for the last time as well. It was nice. I won't even lie. I remember on Natalie's very last day of working, feeling the slight dread that I wasn't going to see her or speak to her the same way again. As in this final act of desperation, I asked her out again. Yes, for a third time. But this time, instead of just asking her out, I expressed how much I really liked her and wondered why she didn't like me back the same, as she knew it kind of bothered me. Natalie expresses that she can't get herself to immerse herself in some relationship and extra details on the side. I remember feeling a bit defeated that I wasn't going to get it my way, but also a bit of relief considering that I know I did everything I can in my power and it just wasn't meant to happen. At least that's what I told myself. And then there it goes. Her shift ends and she leaves out the door. She's gone. Not around no more. And the same lonely, empty, hollow feeling started to rise again and take over my body. The same dread feeling I felt when things fizzled away with Bianca. But this time that Natalie is gone, I don't have any other girl as a safety net. As by then, school semester was done, and I was working 5 to 6 days a week and was busy with other errands in my life. And my life circumstances and lack of available girls around due to my tight schedule, I couldn't find another girl after Natalie to just chat up and entertain myself with and distract myself with no more. She was the last ever girl I've spoken with since April till now. I couldn't continue the vicious cycle of hopping from one girl to the next to distract myself like I typically do. I couldn't have that fixed no more. No more girls, no more distractions, no more running away from myself. I was now forced to sit in that lonely, empty, hollow feeling that I've been running away from for so long. This dark void within me that I always catch myself trying to ignore, suppress, and push away by chatting up and entertaining the next pretty girl around the corner. This time, I actually had to sit with it now. And this dark void that I've been running away for so long hit me very strong once Natalie was gone and I couldn't replace her with another girl to indulge with. I would feel this void lingering within my day-to-day life, like almost constantly. And the dark void and depression would hit me extra hard when I was alone, away from friends, co-workers, and family. Especially during nights when I'm in my own room, on my own. This dark void would hit very hard and make me feel very miserable. Like every time I would catch myself being alone, even if it was just for a couple minutes, I feel this dark void crawling up and taking over again. And I was honestly feeling very sad. And I remember feeling very bummed out that I didn't have no girl to distract myself with, because I was so convinced I was sad because I had no girl on my side at that given moment. And this dark void feeling was not fading away. I was trying so many things to distract myself by keeping myself busy, being around people and so on, but it always kept coming back. It was until finally, just recently, a couple weeks ago, was when I stopped avoiding this internal issue, stopped running away from the void I've been running away from for so long, and finally decided to confront it. After realizing that enough was enough, I stopped pretending that I was okay and fine. I stopped trying to act like the void wasn't there, when it very much was, and I decided to confront myself. Confront this dark void of loneliness, empty, and hollowness that always seems to creep up. And that was when I started using Carl Jung's meditation technique of looking inwards. Introspecting yourself and exploring your mind and analyzing the different parts of yourself and understanding the internal conflicts that occur. And looking inwards to solve my void was the best thing I've ever done. After looking inwards and introspection, I was finally able to solve the root issue of this void that I was running away from for so long. I finally understood why I kept feeling the need to distract myself. I realized that it wasn't the girl that I actually wanted, but it was the validation and appreciation I felt when I was with the girl is what I really wanted. That it wasn't the pretty girl by my side to enjoy conversation with and have fun, but it was the love and self-esteem boost I got while being with women is what I really wanted. And that was when I really took it in. All of those girls I've spoken to within the past year, especially Natalie, were all just a reflection of my own insecurity. We're all just a reflection of my own internal issues. We're all just a reflection of what I was lacking from within. We're all just a reflection of what my own inner self wanted from me the whole time, which was to have validation, appreciation, acceptance, and love for myself, which I was severely lacking within myself. How hard I was crushing over Natalie was not a reflection of how much I actually wanted her, but it was a reflection of how bad my inner self actually wanted validation, love, acceptance, and appreciation from myself. I wasn't happy because Natalie was around. I was happy because I had something to distract myself with and run away from the void. I wasn't sad because Natalie was gone. I was sad because I didn't have a distraction anymore and I was forced to face, confront, process, and sit with the void that I can't run away from no more. I was so busy chasing what I was lacking from within externally that I didn't bother resolving the lack of self-love internally. And I realized that you can't fix your own internal insecurities and issues externally. You can only fix them from within. And chasing it externally will always fall short. But internally will really fill your cup. And you can only realize and fix your internal issues by looking inwards and introspection. And now that I'm working towards being fulfilled and loving myself, I've been feeling much more complete. I'm still working towards it, but definitely getting better. I can now finally be at peace. I didn't really want her. I just wanted to feel whole. So, fellow brother watching this, if you're in a similar situation as me, really ask yourself, do you really want her? Or do you just want to feel whole? As it's only when you're whole from within is when you can actually get into a healthy and happy relationship, not when you're broken. The right partner adds on to your already complete world, not build it. Your partner is an add-on, not a necessity or a base. And no matter what mistakes you've done, how imperfect you are, you always deserve to be loved. You always deserve to be loved from yourself because you are human. And appreciate yourself because you are still breathing and standing even after all the battles you've gone through. You are complete. Just see it for yourself. Always love yourself because you are enough. Every human is. And I hope quote unquote Natalie isn't watching this. That would be a little embarrassing, but it is what it is. Please comment and subscribe if you like this video. Please share this video with someone who you may think can benefit from this. Because if my video can help one person and one person only, then the purpose of me making this video has been met. Stay blessed and peace out.